Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our September 2nd meeting.
Yes.
Mr. Lazo, how are you?
Very good, Mayor. How are you?
Good to see you.
Likewise.
It's been 6 months this day. I think March 2nd, I called for a meeting with our key stakeholders at the time. You were there with us, as well as schools and everybody else, to talk about what this problem was with respect to COVID and where we were going. Little did we know where we would end up 6 months later.
6 months went quick.
Definitely a hard spring.
Yes.
Much better summer, and we're here to report the fact that we have not had these videos in a while is a good thing, as we've discussed last time.
Correct.
And we're happy to have this meeting again because we do have good things to discuss. The township's doing very well from a COVID perspective. I don't think we've had many cases, if 2 or 3 at all, during the month of August. So it's been very flat.
And most important, we haven't had any deaths for months now, which is tremendous.
Including the senior locations where we're hit hard.
We've
so
been at that 14 number for several months now.
So let me do a little reading, and George, please jump in.
Yes.
Again, our 6-month anniversary, where we had our key stakeholders together to figure out what was going on here with actionable steps to keep our residents informed. It's been a long and unexpected road, to say the least, and one that we stated from the beginning that we would not panic. We were very clear about that. We're going to work together and get through this, and that's exactly what we've done and we'll continue to do. So we'll have more meetings like this as needed. We'll try to do them at the beginning or the end of the month, and we'll try to do the same toward the end of this month or early October, and hopefully continue to have some good news. To bring folks up to speed on where we are from just communications, the Township Committee has continued to provide residents with information regarding COVID-19. Most recently, some of our numbers being reported as a negative are due to college kids going back and the information going back and forth from the state. So you'll see some negative numbers there, which are just information catching up with each other. So no concerns there. Actually, it's a positive. Also, as we stated in prior meetings, I think a prior Township Committee meeting, we stated that through our health official, Kevin, that it's very important that if for those that have COVID or have had it, to speak with contact tracers in an effort to understand not their privacy, but the fact that we know that they have it and that we can accurately report that information. This is not a punitive thing. This is to make sure that we're tracking this virus and doing a good job. And I think a lot of people have started to understand that since.
Yeah, initially, Mayor, folks were hesitant.
Yes.
They weren't quite sure what that was. You were asking me too many questions. I don't know if I want to divulge that information.
And I get it, right? We all get that.
And we understand
that. So having said that, if they do call, please speak to them just so they're informed. Also want to say that our Office of Emergency Management is continuing bi-weekly calls now. We used to do them weekly. So that's OEM, that's our police, that's key stakeholders within the Township Committee and others within the Township here to make sure that we're all communicating clearly, that we have all the current information and that we are where we are.
They're not only bi-weekly, those bi-weeklies are getting shorter and shorter.
They are. They are. And you know, when you're doing this for as long as we both have, shorter meetings are better. Right? That's a good sign.
That's for sure.
So thank you to not only our OEM with Shane Ash and all those people that are on there, but our police and all those people in between that make this happen, and the communication out to the folks, our residents. So it's been wonderful. George, bring us up to speed a little bit on the schools. I mean, I know that's been an issue with most recently. I should say that part of the stakeholders that we have too are the schools. Those schools, high school and K through 8, are involved in all our discussions.
That's correct. Mayor, it's a difficult topic, not only locally here in Warren, but across the country, as we all know. Committee members have received regular briefings from the Warren Board of Education, both K through 8 and the high school. We've been proactive in providing input, but we have to keep in mind it is taboo in our form of government to engage or cross the line of trying to influence a school board. We want to report out to everybody that all of us on the Township Committee received so many emails and texts and phone calls from residents asking us to engage the Board of Ed in their reopening plans. We had many parents and residents wanting to open up the schools more full-time. We understand your concern. Unfortunately, it is a different body of leadership, and we can make suggestions and we can be part of those calls, but they are their own separate entity, and we encourage all of you to continue to stay engaged with either the K-8 board or the high school board and those board members.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, by law, we're not allowed to interfere with schools. However, we are part of the fabric here in Warren, and those residents that have reached out to us, we really appreciate it because we understand your concerns, and that has gotten to our schools. Both superintendents know that.
Well, they understand. It's confusing to the resident, Mayor, when 65 cents of their tax dollar goes to that school body, and roughly 13 or 14 cents of the dollar comes to us. So we influence that,
right,
but we can't influence that greater number. You must continue to engage them. I know they're in our townships. I know it's part of our tax structure, but that's why they have a school board and that's why they have a superintendent. They run that operation.
Right. Well, thank you nonetheless. And George, some of our recreation, I know you wanted to discuss too.
Well, it was difficult, Mayor, to get through this spring and then into the summer. We didn't know what we could do or couldn't do. I can tell you my hat's off to Joe Pissarro and Amanda, his assistant in our recreation department, as they hosted terrific summer concert series. I attended several. The most recent one had upwards of 800 to 1,000 people. Done very well with social distancing, circles on the lawn.
Yes.
Those that wanted to wear it because it was outside, those that felt more comfortable wearing face masks, they could. We had the weather cooperate for us. You can understand that these folks have been in the house for a long time,
right?
And it showed by the numbers. So just proud that we were able to provide a service to our residents.
Yeah,
to get out and enjoy good weather and enjoy each other.
The rec did a great job. They were really on top of it, social distancing point of view, and great bands, by the way. I did go to one and I saw it. I was impressed, and I think a lot of the residents really appreciated that effort because, like you said, it's been a long slog of having to be inside and being away from people, and that's just not in our nature. So thank you for those updates there, George. Let's talk about restaurants real quickly, which is some great news that the governor just came out with. It was asked for a quote from Patch about originally stating the fact that we wanted to see indoor dining in early July. So that information will be coming out, but I think it's important to understand that the restaurants have been granted authorization by executive order of the governor to begin offering indoor dining September 4th, tomorrow.
That's correct.
So 25% capacity. There are some nuances to this that I think people need to be aware of. I still think there's added burden with respect to those restaurant owners, the 25% versus social distancing. They kind of conflict with each other based on space. So there's a certain judgment that needs to be made. And I know for a fact, as do you, that our restaurant tiers here will do a terrific job as they have. So our Board of Health, our Township Committee will provide advice and assistance to these businesses. I think Mr. Lazo is going to speak to them directly, many of them, if not tomorrow, during this weekend.
Yeah, so, Mayor, I just have to do a quick shout out. We're very pro-business. We wanted to promote our restaurants. We asked the residents to support our restaurants, and you did. And you can see by the several options that we have in town that the restaurants have done a tremendous job. Quite busy with limited space outside, so they're not making the margins that they made. But thank you, residents, for supporting those restaurants. I will visit with each and every one of them tomorrow. I have a packet here in front of me that outlines the guidelines that the governor has suggested. Of course, we have access to that information, so we've digested it already. And I will head out tomorrow and guide them.
Right.
And we're excited for the note.
Yeah. I mean, here we are, September 2nd. These businesses have maybe till mid-October with an outside dining, and they haven't had business, which is just really unfortunate. Didn't need to be that way. No. So our disagreement with our governor stands pat, but at least we are at a point where we will be able to help our own municipality restaurants do what they can do.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Lazo, for getting out there and speaking with them, because I think it's important, and that they know the rules.
Yes.
And thank you to our residents for getting to those places and supporting them and being socially distant.
Patronage was tremendous.
It's terrific. So some good news, right? We're here to report good news.
That's it.
Right?
Nothing doesn't need to be dour.
No, we don't need any of that. No, we're positive people.
That's right.
That's important.
That's right.
So let's get ahead to something that's maybe not as positive as I think we all would like, right? Unfortunately, I think we had a storm, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name again for the fear of messing that up. But we all know what the storm was.
We'll just say storm.
Yeah. I mean, I personally came back earlier for vacation on the weekend to try to help the people that were, and I'm not tooting my horn as are you, but the facts remain that given the storm that we had, 5 days people without power is totally unacceptable. I give credit to those that are reporting, those utility companies, those individuals that are liaisons to the government, us, about their actions. They were on it, they worked at it, they were very close to us, but let's face facts. JCP&L is terrible. They need to improve, and we're going to keep them accountable. 5 days without power for a storm, granted, tropical storm. I'm going to read some information here about how bad it was, and we all know it was bad, but we cannot be on the back end of every type of storm when a little breeze comes through and the power goes off. It's totally unacceptable. I know you feel the same way. Jump in here.
After Sandy, Mayor, I created the Utility Advisory Committee. We addressed the issues that you referenced with JCP&L. We corrected and improved the pruning process, which I don't want to get into too much detail, but if you have questions, anyone can contact me. This was trees coming out of the ground, right? And it was some substation challenges, and I can tell, and many of the residents have called me already. JCP&L is very, very poor infrastructure, right? Very dated equipment that needs to be addressed. We have asked for what is as much as a 20-page report, an assessment from this storm that we will review, and if necessary, we will reactivate the Utility Advisory Committee to address. We are prepared to attend BPU hearings, and we encourage our residents, once those are scheduled. We are on this. The challenges is that we cannot improve the infrastructure for JCP&L.
Right. So what can we control? There are some things that we can, and that's direct communication with JCP&L and PSEG, which we have. Keep them accountable. From our perspective, township committee members are basically calling these people nonstop with the police, going door to door or location to location to make sure they get power on. Quite simply put, folks, Warren is at the back end of the power business, and we're the first to go out and last to come on. It's a patchwork of network that has not been improved. And this is what's going to go to JCP&L as well as PSEG.
For those that are watching, and I'll say it, I know you don't want to, but I will say it on your behalf. I watched it. You were engaged on a daily basis throughout the weekend and of course the back end of that week. We had to come up with a better process of only you communicating with the utilities because all of us were calling them. And it got a little sloppy. We had our police assign a specific and dedicated officer to the utility supervisors for both PSEG and JCP&L to expedite the services quicker, and that helped. It could have been even longer had we not made that decision.
It was boots on the ground for this committee, police, OEM, that made the difference. I'm saying that as honest as the day is long, because if it weren't for those three groups and those individuals, this power would have been off for 10 days.
Yeah, our committeeman DiNardo offered his backloader to help move trees, and I think that sent the message to the utility companies as well.
So, speaking on what we can control, what I did speak with Mr. Crane about right when this was hitting was we needed more cooling stations. We either need cooling stations or we need heating stations, right? Because we're always going to have these problems. I asked him to go to some of our private businesses to see if they would hold bigger areas, especially with COVID. We need to be more prepared. It can't just be this courthouse. It can't just be
the proper space,
church or EMS. So we've identified 2 private owners within the township. I won't state their names yet until I have all the details. But they've graciously said, we will support the township with cooling or heating as needed based on these storms. So we're doing what we need to do just to make sure that we support our residents, which is really critical, because I have no faith, neither do you or this committee, in the utility companies doing what they need to do. Providing ice from King's isn't going to cut it. Payments for food that's spoiled isn't going to cut it. We demand better service and better reliability with respect to
I want the residents to know, Marion, please jump in here. I want the residents to know that we have been engaged very directly with this since Sandy. We have come to an agreement with JCP&L, who has purchased land here in town, in a remote area that will not be a nuisance to any of our residents or businesses, so that they can put a substation in, and we can specifically in Warren, so that we can avoid some of these problems. You may want to add to that.
That's a good point. We've done that with respect to one that we had an agreement with. I think it was over Dead River Road.
It was.
Or something.
It was.
But here's the thing. I've heard through the grapevine that majority of that power that substation generates doesn't go to Warren. Well, why is that? Why is it going to other towns, and why are we supporting that effort? These things will come out, folks. And if they don't come out in their September meeting, because we have a report that's being generated by OEM, we need to digest that and internally work with them. By our October meeting, it will be part of the agenda, so we will ask people to come. We want to hear the stories from everybody that has been affected by this most recent storm.
We know time is of the essence, folks. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. We know we're in hurricane season. We talk about that all the time. We're trying to be as proactive as we can. We've pressed the utilities to work with our OEM to provide us with this report, and I believe it's close.
Yes. So, this storm resulted in, I'll just give you some facts, a loss of power of more than 4,500 residents, approximately 900 PSE&G customers, and 3,700 PSE&G, yes, and 3,700 JCP&L customers. The police department and OEM work closely with utility companies to provide necessary assistance, which we talked about. But we need to go farther, and we will. Again, the report we did discuss, and we'll continue to do this. So it's on our agenda, folks. This, as much as this was a negative, is a positive now, because we're going to take action. What we get ultimately from these utility companies or BPU in terms of improvements, we'll see. But we are on it, and we're going to press it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you to all the residents too who
putting up
alerted us to down wires, down trees, cracked poles. Yeah. That's very important. We appreciate that.
I think I had roughly 60 calls and at least 30 emails. So definitely felt the pain. Yeah, and I definitely understand their concern. We're going to address it.
We're around the clock, Mayor. Thank you.
So let's jump into some other things that are just informational, and then we don't want this to go on too long, but Mr. Lazo and I, months ago, challenged our township to do better on the census, and it's wrapping up, I believe, the end of this month.
Yes.
Currently, we are at, as of today, we're at 81.3%, a big jump.
Big jump.
Which is terrific. Our goal has now moved the bar to at least 90%, right, Mr. Lazo?
Yes.
So we're asking residents, if you haven't done your census, please get it in. You have until the end of the month.
It takes seconds to do. Very simple.
Yes. So just a note. You can go online and do this. There are census people walking around. Just get it done. We can get to 90%, be the best in Somerset County. So let's do that.
Yep.
You want to talk about the property? I mean, this is something that is a little offbeat, but it's positive. We're here to report positive.
We're here to report positive, Mayor. And I want to, in July of this year, the township and the committee and I, we purchased 20 acres of property on Ferguson Road, formerly known as the Moorcraft Farm. And it is certainly at the top of mind for Mayor Marion, myself, and our committee. Very, very conscientious about purchasing open space where we can to prevent development and to continue to protect the rural ambiance of Warren. So very proud to report that it is arguably one of the prettiest properties in all of the township.
And as Mr. Lazo pointed out, you may recall, for those who want to do a little digging in past year or reorg meeting, Mr. Lazo and I, as well as the committee, were very clear about what our agenda was this year.
That's right.
Open space.
That's right.
Lower taxation, and police safety.
That's correct.
Making our township safe and efficient, mindful of our residents.
That's correct.
All while COVID's going on, protesting's going on. Our national view is pretty up in the air.
Yes, it is.
So we've accomplished a lot of things. The open space thing was near and dear to, I think, everybody or every elected official that's been through these doors. It's been a hallmark of what Warren is about.
Our predecessors purchased
Yes.
hundreds of acres prior to you and I, and we've added to that.
Which is what makes Warren what it is. And we're not done, folks. We are not done. If we don't get one here, we'll go to the other. But we are actively going to put open space as a priority, which is what we're doing.
Yes.
So this is on Ferguson. You drive down that road, you see the little farm.
Take a peek at it, folks. It's beautiful. And we'll have some walking trails there.
Yes.
When ready.
Moving on, just some general information. Mr. Lazo, let's talk briefly about our road overlays.
Yeah, again, something that we introduced in 2012 when we took office, Mayor, and we promised, we heard through our early campaign trails that potholes were an issue.
Yes.
So every year we allocate some significant dollars to road overlay. We just completed that. I hope that the residents find the roads that we did. I know that many have commented to me how pleased they are with it. Hats off to Doug Burrow and our DPW for expediting that entire process, getting it done in a timely manner, and boy, it came out great.
It really did, and I think, we've had some calls that folks that do want their roads paved. We get it. Some of these roads are very old, and we have to work on a priority basis, and we'll get to you. If people are upset for any reason, just let us know, and
Not this year, next year.
We're trying to get all of them as much as possible. It's important to note too that the paving for Old Sterling Road from Forest Drive to Mountain Boulevard will be completed in October and November. This project is fully funded, I should say, by the state.
That's correct.
So when you see these roads, the Mountain one and Old Sterling, I think I said, they're in bad shape, but they're going to be worked on. So
please be reminded, as Mayor said, some of the roads that you identify for us are county roads, and we have to work through the county system. Right. What we focus on in our municipal overlay project are just our municipal roads and our back streets.
Right, and our priority are those residents with those roads that are need to be repaired. So we get it, and we hear you. I think we're close to the end here.
Yes, we are.
I think, just closing from a COVID point of view, restrictions continue to be lifted. We're beginning to see the slow return of some normal activity. I have a couple bullet points here. And we've said this from day one. Important while we're dealing with COVID, spend time with family and friends. Take your walks. Introduce yourself to new people, socially distanced. Enjoy the county and township recreational opportunities, such as the parks and trails, which are available. One thing I highlighted there is experience the fall foliage at East County Park and the municipal trails very soon.
Mick, you spearheaded that, Mayor. You spearheaded that East County Reserve Park several years ago. That was your baby. You put a lot of time into that.
Yeah. It's committee related.
But you steer on behalf of us as a committee. But the point is, folks, it is a beautiful park. You will not even believe that you're in the state of New Jersey.
It's interesting. When Mr. Lazo and I started, we identified things that we thought were important. One of it was a park. We needed to have some kind of park in Warren that was important to all the residents. That piece of property is not owned by Warren, but it's owned by the county. The county wanted to put a road through that park. That's right. Okay, road right through there.
25 mile an hour.
Dubose Road to Old Sterling Road, and can you imagine what that would have been? So we stopped that, and we turned it into a passive recreational park for the betterment of all Warren residents and others. But it's important to get there, walk the trails. There are dog parks there.
Ponds.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Not to mention the sports activity area where Pop Warner is.
That's correct.
So, having said that, support our local businesses and restaurants. Just to clean this up, the restaurants are important.
Let's be smart, though, folks.
Happy Labor Day.
We have done a great job to this point. We don't want to have the governor close again. So let's do our part. Let's enjoy our restaurants on Friday. It opens up 6 a.m. on Friday morning. Have something to eat, have a cocktail, but let's do it smartly.
Right. Great point. I mean, that's exactly where it is. We don't want to go back. The residents have done a terrific job. Please go out and support those businesses. We wish all of you a safe, healthy, and enjoyable Labor Day weekend.
Yes. Enjoy, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.